You are listening to another episode of the Coaster101 podcast. I'm Andrew Stillwell, and as the saying goes, everything is bigger in Texas. And I am really excited. I feel like I've got a Texas-sized interviewee this week. He's somebody I've wanted to interview on Coaster101 for a long time. And fortunately, there's been some news in the Texas area of the country. I feel like that's its own region at this point. But I thought of no better person than to bring on than the regional park manager for all of the Six Flags Texas properties, Mr. Jeffrey Siebert. Jeffrey, welcome to the Coaster101 podcast. We are so excited to have you.
Oh my gosh. Well, huge thank you for the invitation. And anytime we get to talk coaster shop, you can always count me in.
Exactly. I love it. And we're going to get right into it. You're a longtime industry vet. You got your start at the long-shuttered Americana Amusement Park outside of Cincinnati, then went to Kings Island, and have also been with Schlitterbahn. Most people know you from your time at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas, and now you've ascended the ranks even more. I want to talk about your history in the amusement industry. Let's start at the beginning. What can you tell me? You graduated from University of Cincinnati. How did you end up at Americana Amusement Park?
Well, like probably so many folks listening, I'm a fellow fan that has had a just true lifelong passion for roller coasters and rides. I used to pretend my backyard was a theme park. Every Lego creation I ever made was either a log flume or a roller coaster. And that was long before there were actual kits. You had to just make your stuff. So I'm just a lifelong fan. I've been lucky enough that I just knew that this is what I've always wanted to do, was to create fun and exciting and epic thrills. So I went to the University of Cincinnati, which was the closest I could find back in the day to a theme park degree. Well, luckily now there are actually theme park degrees. You can actually get a degree in hospitality, but back in the day there wasn't. So I found folks at the University of Cincinnati that helped build and open Kings Island back in the 70s. And they were my professors and mentors, which led to a great internship at Jack Rouse and Associates. And Jack Rouse and Associates, along with Larry Wyatt and Forick, were designing theme parks all around the country. And so I was their first intern ever at JRA back in the day, which now is owned by Ryan and RWS. It's now one of their companies. But when I was an intern at Jack Rouse and Associates, one of my first jobs was filing blueprints and plans of projects that the company was working on. One of the fun things was Dollywood was just finishing up a JRA-related project, and it was fun seeing that and looking at the films that were cut with Dolly herself. The other big project that they were finishing up were tons of blueprints for a park being built in a quarry. So my job was to file those blueprints, and kind of remember thinking, wow, this is so cool how this wood coaster goes in and out of this quarry wall, and this train actually goes through this tunnel and there's waterfalls. Well, of course, the blueprints I was filing was from a brand new theme park that has just opened in San Antonio called Fiesta, Texas. Little did I know someday that I'd be leading that park and leading now the entire great state of Texas in just continued fun and momentum and just creating new and exciting and dynamic experiences that we keep building for our future.
I love it. And I've got to ask, because I looked at your LinkedIn profile here. There was a brief stop outside of the industry. You had you started at JRA or Americana for a little bit. You got out of the industry for a hot second, and you worked for the Cincinnati Mighty Ducks, the AHL affiliate of the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. Mm-hmm. This is right at the tail end of the Mighty Ducks trilogy. And I've got to ask you, because I'm a Disney movie nerd. Mm-hmm. Speaking of, we might have to talk about Blank Check on this podcast too. But do you have an affinity for the Mighty Ducks films, having worked for the franchise?
As you can imagine, Wild Wing, the Mighty Ducks, absolutely. And it was, at that time, Disney was really trying to get into sports. So the company was actually called Anaheim Sports, and it was the Ducks and the Angels. They just had redone and opened Edison Field and was trying to just continue to expand its empire. So it was an absolute blast seeing the inside of basically an emerging sector of the Disney Corporation and trying to figure out what is the right way to engage and entertain sports fans. And luckily, being kind of a minor league version of it, we had lots of latitude to work with all the different sister departments of Disney, including Disney Buena Vista Home Video back in the day with VHS tapes, where many folks remember, it's coming out of the Disney vault or they're putting it in the Disney vault. Well, the cool thing was they were getting ready to release all the Mighty Ducks movies on VHS tapes. And we actually used them as premium giveaways where sports team give away, rally rags and bobbleheads. We're giving away movies before you can even buy them, which we knew that would be popular. But oh my gosh, it was like a cult following. And we were able to do that when Little Mermaid came out on video. You want to talk about selling tickets? People really at that point didn't care about the hockey game. They wanted their free copy of Beauty and the Beast and Little Mermaid and the Mighty Ducks movies that you couldn't even buy them. So, I mean, it was like true just demand. And then, of course, doing fun stuff on the ice with the Disney brands and franchises. It was just a really fun and innovative time before then being recruited and actively shooed away by our friends at Kings Island.
I love that. That is fantastic. And I've got to ask now, you've worked again at Schlitterbahn, at Fiesta, Texas, at Kings Island. We're going to get into Kings Island here in a second because there's some lore that I really want to discuss. Is it wild for you knowing that you've been at all of these places who at one time were their own separate entities and working under different corporations, that they're now all in the same family and you've kind of been there at different levels throughout the duration of that?
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love it because it's like a giant family reunion. But retrospectively, it almost looks like I was preparing parks for a Cedar Fair merger or acquisition as I was jumping between all the parks and properties. But no, it's great because as you can imagine, although we're one giant Six Flags family, each of our properties has their own big personality and nuances that make them great. And the way a Schlitterbahn looks and operates is dramatically different than a Splash Town or a Hurricane Harbor or a Soak City. And it really does have that extra level of expertise or nuance, if you will, to make sure that, hey, Schlitterbahn is special. It does need to run different. It has a different personality. So having that somewhat nuance peek behind the curtains all those years, working for Schlitterbahn for 8 years, helps continue to make sure that that park remains Schlitterific and Schlittastic and just continues to exemplify why our guests love it. Why do people love Schlitterbahn New Braunfels? Because it's fun, it's quirky, it's miles of tube chutes, it's water slides that last 45 minutes. I mean, it's just a epic scale that you don't think of in water parks. The real magic of Schlitterbahn is you're just always in the water, especially in these hot Texas days where even today, here we are in mid-October and it's still 90 degrees outside. Schlitterbahn is loved because it's that spring-fed water that just keeps you cool all year round. And that's what makes Schlitterbahn great, among so many other things. And, of course, the team and people there are just world-class and outstanding and lovely human beings, to say the least.
I love it. Okay, I got to go back, though, to your time at Kings Island. Because, again, researching for this episode, I was like, I got to come prepared with some interview questions that, people are going to talk about. We're going to talk about Tormenta. We're going to talk about Schlitterbahn. We're going to talk about Fiesta, Texas, and the fan events that you do. I've got to know, is it true that you are the audio recording on the Hill of the Beast?
Which is actually accurate to this day, which is very kind of the park team. They have kept an old recording of me for an anniversary year of the Beast. I want to say it was the 25th. It was either the 20th or 25th anniversary of the Beast. It had to be the 25th, that we redid some of the graphics and theming on the ride, made it more ominous, scratched the trains, added some audio effects and sounds on the ride. And I did a recording, just making a safety recording for the Beast. That was just supposed to originally be a 1-year thing. And to this day, it remains that if you are riding the Beast as you're going up the lifts, you'll hear me just reminding you to keep your arms and legs and hands down and inside the car at all times while you're roaring through 35 acres of woods.
I love it. That is fantastic. Are there any other Easter eggs out there in the greater Six Flags Cedar Fair universe that, we can still hear your voice other than the Coaster101 podcast?
Easter eggs throughout, yes, this fine collection of parks. But that's what makes them Easter eggs.
Okay. Well, we're going to have to start digging. And if you're listening to this audience and you're deep into the Jeffrey Siebert lore, hit us up. Let us know. Let us know where we can find the voice here. And I've got one other question. Again, you're in your role now as regional park manager of all of the Six Flags parks. Can you explain to the average listener what that means? Obviously, Cedar Fair used to have general manager VPs. Six Flags had park presidents. Those titles are now, they don't exist anymore. But what is in your role as regional park manager? What does that entail?
Yeah, as the regional general manager for the great state of Texas, it really is just that, where it is a general manager role and all that comes with it. But for example, in Texas, I now do that for 6 parks. So it is the full day-to-day operations, guest experience, looking at our future, what we're doing, events, execution, you name it, all that would be considered of what you would think of a general manager to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what I do, but for 6 properties in Texas.
And again, you've had experience at all of these parks. You know, you're a long time marketing at Six Flags Fiesta Texas, marketing at Schlitterbahn. You've recently gotten to announce a brand new, the first giga dive coaster at Six Flags over Texas. With experience at all of these places, is it hard not to play favorites?
No, because our guests are the ones that really we do all the magic for. So, as you know, we want to just deliver for them, but we love all of our children, and every child has its own unique personality and then own unique needs. And that really is kind of the tailored approach we're taking through the great state of Texas, that all parks shouldn't be the same. They all are different. And to lean into what makes them great is really what our guests want. Six Flags over Texas, great in its lore and Texas pride and celebrating all that's great about the people and cultures and history of Texas. And that's exactly what we're unlocking. And we're going to continue to exemplify. For Schlitterbahn, oh my gosh, it's all about cold water river adventures, miles of tube chutes, rides that go on, family fun, good eats, just good hill country summer Texas fun. That's what we're leaning into. For Fiesta Texas, it's a great park that also celebrates more regionally. It celebrates the history and cultures of San Antonio and all that makes San Antonio great. And leaning into that with fun storytelling and innovation and theming. It really just makes it great. And then for our 2 water parks, we had a coastal water park, which is Schlitterbahn Galveston Island, has that kind of vacation vibe, leading into the vacation vibe of folks that are just there for a weekend to have fun and soak up the sun. And then, of course, our Hurricane Harbor Splash Town, which is in Houston, a true backyard oasis. And then our Hurricane Harbor Arlington across the street from Six Flags over Texas, again, a juggernaut when it comes to water park thrills. So each park has its own nuance that we want to make sure we continue to build upon, take care of our guests and take care of our team and just have a lot of fun along the way.
Perfect. I want to talk a little bit more about, you do something to me that as a fan of this industry and someone who is in a, what I will call a role. I don't know how that ranks in the actual hierarchy. You're big on fan service. I feel like you give us a lot of behind the scenes things. You know, your social media is consistently showcasing the latest and greatest. You're active. And again, I think that goes back to the whole, you know, you started this thing as an enthusiast, but you also worked in marketing for a while. Is that kind of like your mindset going forward of, we want to continue to give these fans the best fan service, and if that's behind the scenes, great. If it's a peek behind the curtain, what's the mindset that you have and the reasoning you have for going behind the scenes as much as you do and kind of keeping that public presence?
Well, as you know, many of our fans have been friends personally for a long, long time. And it really is, it's a great family when it comes to our fellow enthusiasts. I mean, there's no doubt my happiest days working at parks are those where there's just hundreds of us just doing this conversation every day, just talking about what's great and what we like. When I'm not visiting a Six Flags park, I'm visiting and playing at someone else's park, not necessarily because of the business side, although that is great that it is also the business side, but I love it. I'm having fun. This year we've gone as a family to Epic Universe for vacation. Loved it. Oh my gosh, what a phenomenal experience. This past Christmas season, we took a Dollywood road trip and the whole family got a good old fashioned cabin in the Smoky Mountains and snowfall and had a great time at Dollywood and riding the big Dollywood Express. I mean, there's just so many magical moments throughout our industry. And it really is fun to take all those best practices and ideas back to our parks. But it really is, our fans, we love our fans. I love our fans. And there's no better way to show that appreciation than show a little bit more inside baseball, if you will. Our general guests, they may not care that every piece of track as it gets installed in Tormenta, but we do. We love to see that every single piece of track is being installed in Tormenta. So if you start looking at not even some of my social media posts, but also the park posts have become more nuanced as well, that we are taking our fans on this journey of watching Tormenta go up, because it's going to be an impressive skyline change for our park, for Arlington, for DFW, and for the great state of Texas. I mean, this is a ride of just significant scale. But the other thing that I love about our fans is we have a language of our own. And when there's things that are going great or not great, our fan base can very clearly tell us back in our language, hey, go take a look at this, or I love this, I didn't like this, which is fantastic to have that level of immediate reaction. And as our park teams will share with you, I'm sure they love the fact that I'm also looking at social media. So if there is something that a guest posts, it's like, oh, this just happened, I'm following up with our team, because we would prefer to correct that in real time versus something having to get submitted and then reviewed and then gets put into someone's email. And it's like, oh my gosh, I don't mind that at all. We prefer the feedback. Again, you're more than welcome to direct message me, or if someone does do a Facebook post, you'll typically see that I'll respond with, if someone says, hey, why is this ride down? I'll share that up, so sorry, I apologize, but we're waiting on a certain component, or we're waiting on this material. It hasn't arrived yet. But as soon as it comes in, we'll get that attraction back open. But as fans, we just love that level of nuance and that dialogue, because we do care about the parks. We do care about the park experience. And in many ways, these rides, not only are they fun, great physical experiences, but they are the thing that unite us as a fan base. These are the things that bring our friendships. These are the things that bring us great joy and happiness for many of our fans. You look at some of our fans right now for Halloween, this is like the most magical time of the year for some of our fan base. We have some guests at Six Flags Over Texas have gone through the same haunted house now more than 200 times. And it's like, oh my gosh, if that's what gives you happiness and brings you peace, all about it. How can we just make sure that our guests, one at a time, are having great magical experiences and fun and just want to come back?
I love it. And kind of as an extension of that, I know a big thing at Fiesta Texas is the annual FT92 event, which is kind of like a fan-centric event. As the park manager, you have some say over events, but what's the reasoning? Is it just wanting to give back to those longtime friends and fans of the park and be like, hey, here's the peek behind the curtain. Here's what we're going to do. And not only are we going to talk about Fiesta Texas, we're going to talk about Schlitterbahn. We're going to give you some information about Tormenta. What's the mindset behind an event like FT92 or even a roller coaster rodeo?
In many ways, it's really to show our fan base that we do listen and look at all the things we're doing based on your comments. And that's what it is. So as this conversation is, we listen to our fans all the time. You are the ones buying tickets. Our fans are the ones paying the bills. And we love to keep our fan base happy and engaged. So based on our fan comments, we put together our presentations and events like FT92, or more recently, the Tormenta announcement. Mm-hmm. And we not only talk about the big fun news, but we also show, oh my gosh, here's all the things that are going on. Fiesta Texas this year, Fright Fest, was a huge part of our guest journey. We added 4 new haunted houses, more park decorations. Six Flags Over Texas, our guests have been telling us, you know what, we'd love it if you decorate the park more. We'd love it if our scare zones are better. So you know what we did at Six Flags Over Texas? Spent a whole bunch more money decorating the park, making the entire park look ready for Halloween with big decorations and more fog, better scare zones. We even added IP scare zones this year, which was the trick or treat, added new IP haunted houses. We had the only one of its kind, the Strangers new haunted house at Six Flags Over Texas. But we just want to continue to love on our guests. And the same for Holiday in the Park that's coming up. Each park in Texas truly will have the most magical holiday events we have ever done in our 40-year history of doing Holiday in the Park. If the magic of Christmas and the holidays is for you, I cannot emphasize enough the magic, the time, the talent the team is putting in to truly make these parks a moment of joy and awe for the holidays. So if you love the holidays, we are pulling out all the stops, everything that we know how to do, and it's just going to be magical and world class. Six Flags Over Texas, it will be the most decorated Holiday in the Park has ever seen. I don't think our guests have any idea about what we're doing and truly what we're about to unleash for that park and how magical it will be for the holidays. It should just bring, hopefully, new joy, new excitement, and more importantly, show our guests saying that we do listen and we know that you're part of this journey and we genuinely care and we want to make this park great.
Yeah. Is listening to the guests is that part of the reason we've seen some, enhancements in theming for existing coasters like Poltergeist and now Chupacabra, and also the addition of theming when bringing a new coaster like Doctor Diabolical's Cliffhanger to the park?
It is, and those are great examples. The name Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger was selected by our guests. The color green on Poltergeist, and that whole, it was, again, those were colors actively voted on and selected by our fan base, because we want to continue the story moving forward. When I worked at Disney, they had a great saying, surprise with the familiar. And just because we have an existing attraction does not mean it needs to look exactly the same for its entire life of existence. No one wants that. Our guests love when we refresh things. We don't love stuff to look exactly the same. We want it to be familiar, but we love when we take Poltergeist and add the indoor station, paint the color scheme, add the audio, add the fog. It's still the same great ride that you love, but oh my gosh, now it's so much better. And as you can imagine, the popularity has gone up. Personally, it has always bothered myself and others that our B&M inverted coaster was called Goliath. Just a very general Six Flags used name, didn't necessarily fit the Los Festivales feel, storytelling. So again, going back, same great attraction, but you paint it and add theming and storytelling, and now making it part of more of the San Antonio lore of a Chupacabra, the experience with it just, again, also makes it unique and distinctively Fiesta, Texas, where Goliath, well, there's Goliaths all through the company, but you know what? There's now only one Chuppy, and we love our own Chupacabra.
I love it. You've given me a really great segue into the lore, because we got to talk about your shiny new toy coming to Six Flags Over Texas, this Tormenta Rampaging Run. And I've got to tell you, I was tuned in to the live announcement in North Carolina. I'm sitting in my living room and I watched the morning stuff was great. You got on stage at a fan event that night. So you guys had two separate events. You had me ready to run through a brick wall with your enthusiasm for this coaster. It was insane how just you were so just jazzed about this new attraction. So kudos to you. But we got to talk Tormenta. Like, I feel like this could be an early front runner for one of the best coasters of 2026. It's got to happen, right?
The just, for lack of better terms, obscene scale of the ride is just demanding. And it's one thing that you and we know what 309 feet looks like, because you have one in your backyard.
I do.
It's taller. But for our average guest, they have never seen anything like this, ever.
No.
So when we say 309 feet, and when this ride in the next week or two will start reaching its heights as it goes up the lift, it's going to be unbelievable to the vast majority of our guests of truly the size, scale, steepness of what this is, let alone the fanboy and myself and all of us just like thinking, oh my gosh, it has like hyperloop. It has a loop that actually identifies as itself as a hyper element.
Yes.
I mean, it's just crazy. It's got the world's largest vertical loop. I joke saying the vertical loop is so large in itself, we could probably serve you lunch while you go through it. It's just going to keep going. It's going to be like, what is going on here? This loop just keeps on going. I mean, these elements are just so unbelievably large in scale. No doubt it's just going to be fun. It's going to be forceful. It's going to be fun. It's just steep. It's crazy. The 8 wide, again, if you think about the folks in the DFW area, no one has seen a ride vehicle or a train that's typically wider than 2 people. So all of a sudden that you have this giant track and this huge thing, eight seats across, it just everything about it scale wise looks crazy.
Yeah. And it was the mindset when ideating this. Obviously the park and corporate are going to work with B&M to create this. There are 6 world records here. Mm-hmm. Could you not be satisfied with just one? Were you just like, we got to go bigger. We got to go bigger.
Well, and as you know, the fanboy in me, there's actually more records than that.
Of course.
We just landed on 6. But for all of our fans out there, put together your full list of different things, different world records it actually holds. For example, it's the world's longest beyond vertical drop on planet Earth. That's a record that we don't actively tout. It's actually the world's tallest, fastest floorless coaster as well. Again, that's a record that we don't actively tout. I could go on and on and on. There's so many nuanced records. We probably should put together a list somewhere with all of our fans, all the records it really does. But for our general guests outside of us, they really don't care about that. So we just layered in the big six, which is tallest, fastest, biggest inversions, longest drop. I mean, it's just crazy, again, the scale of how this will look. And then also how the colors fit into our Tormenta itself and how it fits into Spain and how it fits into the park's history and lore. It really was important that we hit on all those aspects, that it just becomes a real reason to celebrate and get excited about going to Six Flags Over Texas.
For sure. And I don't want to get too deep into it because I know you can't give me every detail, but I want to think about, it's been 15 years at Six Flags Over Texas since there was a new major custom coaster. I mean, the transformation from Texas Giant to new Texas Giant. We've had the addition of Joker. We've had the addition of Aquaman Power Wave. Why Six Flags Over Texas and why now?
We truly believed with our 65th anniversary coming up that this was a unique time in our history to basically put the flag of Texas back in the ground, put our stake to claim, and just really elevate the entire park experience and get new legions of fans that maybe haven't visited the park in a while, but this can do it. So for folks that haven't visited in a long time from either throughout the country or folks that are like, we've been there, nothing's new, nothing I want to do. The scale of this, we hope, incites and ignites the spark of imagination and that kind of, oh my gosh, I have to go do it because it's just crazy and everyone is talking about it. We got to go see what it is. So one, it is the reason to ignite visitation and get folks to come and visit and see what Six Flags Over Texas is about again. The second part is, as you know, the park team has been working around the clock nonstop. I jokingly say we're doing 9 years worth of work every week to elevate the entire park experience, from surfacing, landscaping, redoing theaters, painting buildings, cleaning rides and attractions, getting all the trains back into circulation and all the rides, redoing theming, redoing storytelling, putting all new lights on the tower, putting up flags that haven't been in the park in 20 years, truly doing all of those things nonstop every week, new haunted houses, brand new holiday in the park, that hopefully when our guests come, they'll see, oh my gosh, there's so much going on. There's Casa Magnetica is open and looking brand new. The log flumes, again, original attractions to their manufacturer type, all both being refurbished and will look brand new again. Mine Train, Train Ride. I can go on and on and on about all the great things that we're doing to reignite that sense of local pride that, oh my gosh, we're so proud that this is our hometown park. And not only that, but for our fellow enthusiasts and fans, this is where the whole regional theme park industry began. There's so many great leaders that have gone through these walls that we all stand on their shoulders. And oh my gosh, we want to make sure that this park is ready to shine for its 65th anniversary, but more importantly, for all of our fans and family and friends yet to come. All those future visits, we just want to make sure that the park is the most magical place and magical time that it has ever been.
I love it. And, you're talking about the guests who are, we'll call them lapsed. And I am very guilty. Please don't yell at me. It's been a while since I was at Six Flags Over Texas. We're talking 10 plus years at this point. And shame on me, I've never been to Fiesta, Texas. We had a trip planned as a whole riding staff in 2020. We know how that year ended up. So I have it on record. The Coaster101 riders trip that we try to take every year to. A lot of us have kids, families, wives, jobs, everything that gets in the way of taking coaster trips. We will be at Six Flags Over Texas and Fiesta, Texas sometime in 2026. It's happening. Mark it down, hold me to it, because right now, again, I was ready to run through a brick wall during the announcement day, and what you just said now, I got to find another brick wall to run through like the Kool-Aid Man. Like, it's just, we're excited.
You're not going to have to wait much longer. So that is the great news, because Tormenta will rise. And as you know, the Rampaging will begin very soon in 2026.
I love it. And, the timeline is we've got vertical construction. I know I saw on social media earlier today. I mean, the it looks like, I feel like the brake run is going in, but that first piece of track that everyone signed at that event, that's up. It's vertical. It's happening. What's the again, in a perfect world, because we know weather is unpredictable, and I also know that you can't tell me everything. That's the beauty of the position you're in and the position I'm in. But what's our timeline here? What's the goal to, have Tormenta topped off? What's the goal to have the track complete?
Well, the great news is what you're seeing right now for as we post pictures is that we have begun going backwards out of the station. That will actually come to a stop, and then we'll begin going up the lift hill, most likely sometime next week. We should be topped off by early November. And then I would say as we get ready to switch the calendar from 25 to 26, the vast majority of the structural track should be complete, and it should look pretty close to being complete or tied up at that standpoint. So the actual physical construction shouldn't take much more than into the early 26 year. And then, of course, it's all the boring stuff of electrical conduit, airlines, computer control systems that take all the time. And you're like, because our fans will see it come to completion. They'll see the track type and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be great. It's going to be open for opening day. Excuse me. No, it will not. It will not be ready for opening day because we do have to do all those other things that just take so long. But we do look forward to opening it in early 2026.
Got it. Perfect. I'm not going to ask for a date. I'm not going to commit you to a date. We're good. You say it's the boring stuff. Our audience, we love stuff like that. Control systems. You're speaking the coaster nerd language right there.
It's all those things you don't see how many hours of pulling wire and it was why is all of a sudden nothing happening? Oh, I can assure you tons is happening, but it's wires, it's conduit, it's boxes all over the place, all those magical proc switches getting installed where they need to get installed, and then the commissioning process. And even when we begin the commissioning process, as you know, there's still a good amount of time before the ride can open to the general public as we continue that this year.
I love it. I've got to ask, and there's probably two answers to this question, because every time I ask a park executive or somebody in leadership, what are they most excited about? I want an on-ride example, what you're most excited for on the ride, because I feel like the other example is standing at the exit and watching guests get off.
Well, yes, just seeing the pure joy the ride brings is always mission number one. It's that the desire to build something that our guests just want to do over and over again and just brings pure fun and smiles and that unique ability for a ride to create common bonding among strangers. Again, that is very special, especially in this day and age. That becomes even more special because it is something that unites us all. It makes us feel good and thrills, and to share that collective physical experience is unique in this day and age. And there's been nothing that has come close to even replacing the excitement and thrills that a coaster can deliver. In this specific case, I do think the vertical loop is going to be my favorite part of the ride.
Gotcha.
I know what it is on Superman Krypton Coaster or on our Full Throttle attraction at Magic Mountain, just knowing the scale of those and knowing that this continues to even be larger and more exciting. The ride should have just a really fun moment as you're hitting those positive G loads, then going to very low or negative G loads at the top before just roaring out of that thing. Should just be tons of fun.
And what are they going to serve you for lunch in the vertical loop?
Lots of magic in action right there.
I love it. That's perfect. But Tormenta's not the only addition coming to Six Flags Over Texas. There is a whole plaza being built around this attraction, the Rancho de la Tormenta Plaza. My Spanish accent, not very good. What can guests expect? We've got a new restaurant. We've got some new theming. Tell us a little bit about what we can expect in this new plaza.
It really is that statement of how do you surprise with the familiar? Spain has been a rather smaller area of the park through its history. It's somewhat been disjointed. We have rides that live outside of Spain. We have rides that are actually in Spain but look like they're in Mexico. So this gives us the thematic opportunity to tie it all up with a nice bow to create a really nice elevated Spain experience. It will be more of a modern day telling of Spain than when Spain actually flew the flag over the country. It will not be the Spain of past, but it will be the Spain that was built, but we're celebrating it today. So as part of that, it'll have a refresh, updated look, lots of Spanish flair and style, the new restaurant, the queuing experience for Tormenta. Even our teacup ride is being loved on and integrated and elevated to have a fresh look as part of the new Spain experience, including making it more integrated. The Spain arch that we currently have is also being enhanced and loved on. We're adding seat walls and seating and more shade for all of our guests that are either in just enjoying the area, enjoying the ride, new retail experiences. So it will have much more of its own village as part of the experience.
I love it. And the best way to kind of keep in touch and keep track of all this, I know the park is working on a lot of social media features. We've got the Tormenta Tuesday. We've got the Tormenta Minuto. Again, that Spanish accent not really working for me right now. I'm trying, I promise. But that's going to be the best way for, through the end of the 2025 season. And as we kind of hit that 2026 off season, that's going to be the best way for people to keep in touch with this, right?
It's great.
Okay, perfect. Well, I've got, I do have the regional park manager for all of the great state of Texas on. So while Six Flags Over Texas is probably your most exciting, arrow in the quiver for next year, there's probably some new things happening all around Texas. And at FT92 earlier this year, I know you teased kind of a new signature attraction coming to Schlitterbahn, New Braunfels, and I'm one of those kids who grew up watching the Travel Channel, all of like the extreme water slides. So that's my experience with Schlitterbahn is like these early 2000s Travel Channel documentaries. Is there anything you can tease or drop or anything you want to tell us about this new signature attraction? And again, I know the game. You can't tell me anything.
The great news is construction has already started.
Okay.
We're going to begin releasing social media updates here really, really soon.
Okay.
But it is another fun, interactive experience that we hope our guests will love, and just another fun reason to continue to enhance the Schlitterbahn experience. We're also taking advantage with this ride of the terrain of the park.
Okay.
Folks that have not visited, Schlitterbahn New Braunfels is actually along the Canal River, which offers some fun topography changes. So I can share that this ride will utilize topography changes to aid into the guest experience of what we're adding for its big anniversary year next year. It's hard to believe also, Schlitterbahn, if you do not know, is the world's oldest operating water park. It opened in 1979 as the third water park that we'd ever consider truly built. The other two are no longer in operation. So Schlitterbahn now is the world's longest operating water park on planet Earth. But as you also mentioned, there's lots of other fun stuff coming through the state, not only this year, but as we look towards our future, more and excitement is yet to come.
I love it. And, we're just coming off the new DC Super Friends at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. What's guest reception been like that for these new attractions?
It has been an immediate hit. We knew that we wanted to add more multi-generational attractions for our guests and to make sure that everyone in the family has something new to do. So, for example, our monorail attraction, the Metropolis Transit Authority, is now one of our 15 most ridden attractions in the park. And as you know, it's a monorail-style ride that just takes you on a nice leisurely sky view tour of DC Universe. The Cyborg, which is a nebulous, extremely popular with our guests because it is just a fun, broad, thrilling action ride. It's actually our 7th ride in the park that is synchronized to audio, which also makes it fun. It has its own soundtrack that plays where Cyborg is in battle to take control of the ride because his nemesis hacked in and made the ride go crazy. We also added the rotating drop tower experience, which we call Shazam Tower of Eternity. Tower of Eternity, which again is programmed to 3 different style drops, and the tower rotates one way, tower rotates another way. Just a very fun, broad family ride. Out of all the rides, we way underestimated how many adults would want to ride the Shazam attraction. So our adults love it, which is great. But you see lots of adults trying to squeeze in with the kids. But it's fun. It's fun that all these rides have their own appeal. Even our rethemed rides, like we had an airplane ride that we rethemed to Green Lantern. And since we've done that, the ride's popularity has soared, and now it's ridden by everyone because it just doesn't look like a kid's ride. It's now Green Lantern. So lots of magic in action. It's been well received by our guests. New food and dining, new retail location that enters as the way to get into Superman, but also as exit locations for Superman and Supergirl. Just lots of innovation, big and small, including in our MTA while you're waiting, because it's a train station, there's park benches and seats everywhere. So instead of standing, because we all love standing, instead of standing, you're now be able to seat. You just stay seated while you're waiting for the ride attraction.
Man, again, I am so excited to come to Six Flags Over Texas, Six Flags Fiesta Texas. We're going to make a couple of day trip out of this for sure. But in case anybody who's been listening for the past 40 minutes is not jazzed and ready to, book the next flight to San Antonio or Dallas, like, what's your sales pitch to get people to Six Flags Over Texas in 2026 or Fiesta Texas or Schlitterbahn, the great state of Texas Six Flags properties? What is your sales pitch to get them out there?
Well, oh my gosh, not only from us, but if you're a fan of the industry, the state of Texas is on fire. I mean, there is so much exciting news going on that if you have not visited in a while, again, not only do we've got lots of great things going on through Six Flags and what we're going to be doing for our 35th anniversary for Fiesta Texas in 2027. I mean, there's so many things that are happening on the Six Flags side, but also for our fans of other just coasters. Coda will be swinging its gates open soon, which is in Austin with its new lineup. And oh my gosh, that's going to be fun. Our friends at Universal Studios are opening up a new kid-friendly park. There's just so much going on throughout the state that if you have not been here and you're an enthusiast, oh my gosh, what is wrong with you? Because 2026 has to be the year you have to come visit, and hopefully we'll get you yet again with all the exciting news that's yet to come for Fiesta Texas in 2027.
And that news for 2027 is just kidding.
Oh, I think you're breaking up.
Oh, man, I hate it when I break up on a podcast. When I ask the most important question, I always break up. It always happens. I don't get it. All right, Jeffrey, where can the listening audience find you? And I know you're active on Twitter. Are you active any of the other social platforms? How can they find you?
I am. The two that I also personally keep our fans involved in is on X and on Instagram. Those are the two ways you can search me up, and I keep our guests posted. Also, each of the parks' third-party fan pages we also interact with. So at Fiesta Texas, at Schlitterbahn, at Six Flags Over Texas. So again, we keep those fan guys up to date. But of course, our park's official social media channels also do a fantastic job keeping all of our guests informed of what's going on. But for those that like more of the peek behind the curtain, no doubt we use our fan and social media platforms and my social media platforms to kind of go to that fun nerd level that maybe the vast majority of our guests don't care about, but we do. So we'll make sure that for folks that are just looking for more information, take a peek, join another fan site, and have a lot of fun.
I love it. Jeffrey, thank you so much for the time today. After you're done following Jeffrey Siebert on all of these social media, Six Flags Over Texas, Fiesta Texas, Schlitterbahn, make sure you're following Coaster101. We also have a website, Coaster101.com, that when we visit these Texas parks, again, the power of when. There's not an if, it's when. We visit these parks in 2026, there will be lots of great written content, but in the meantime, there's stuff that's not about the Texas parks that's worth checking out too. If you're listening, make sure you're liking, rating, reviewing, subscribing, and doing all of the other podcast buzzwords, because the more people who listen to this show, we're going to get more great guests like Jeffrey Siebert on this podcast because they want to talk to me, surprisingly enough. It's crazy. I don't get it. But I love it. So again, those ratings and reviews really help. And last but certainly not least, a big shout out to JM Entertainment for our theme music. Jeffrey, this is fun. We'll definitely hit you up in 2026, but anytime you want to come back, you're more than welcome to it. Like I said, we can talk about Disney films and roller coasters in the movie Blank Check.
Sounds great. We could do a whole episode just on that.
We could. Maybe we should. Anyway, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Coaster101 podcast, and we will talk to you again soon. See ya.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you around the parks.